Hmm. So I'm here still, but I'm writing all or saying all of these stories, and I'm wearing my Maui shirt, my Maui Brewing Co. shirt, and I'm channeling a lot of energy from Hawaii. And a lot of it makes me sad. I can't really pinpoint why it's making me sad, but the whole day, the whole energy, I've been really sad. Um, and I think talking it out right here is gonna really, really help me to figure out why I was, why I'm really sad. So let's start. I went to Honolulu for my 29th birthday, which is on 11, which is on 2, which is on a 22, which you split it in half. That means two halves of a heart. One is one half, one is the other half. One, two, one, two. And that's a code breakdown. And then you get to uh, 1 1 0 0 0 1 1 1 0. So you'll get into the binary sequence there. So I went to visit Honolulu by myself. Before I had my daughter, before I had Angel, and I stayed in just the strip, where the fancy hotels were. It wasn't anything, but I would go to down to the bar, and I would always say, "Oh, I'm here by myself." You know, I wasn't afraid of anything. Like I wasn't caring. So I've been to Hawaii a lot. So I've been to Maui like 5, 6 times. No, maybe 5 times, and I've been to Honolulu one time, and it was by myself. So I brought the ticket because I was going to go to Jamaica because I was going to find a husband in Jamaica, and I was going to bring him back and just do that whole that whole bullshit plan at least. But I had some issues pop up, so it doesn't really matter. So I was at the bar and I was telling them, oh, I'm here by myself and I'm just blah 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 blah. In the middle of the night, I heard a knock, and almost like it was almost like in the dark side. Like once a woman is by herself, like they take the soul captive, they take the soul captive and uh sacrifice the soul, the black soul, to the volcano there. But little did they know, so this is a vision while I'm laying in bed, but it also happened because I forwarded time and rewound time after I told them. So I had gotten, captive out of my room, and they took me to some like this area, like an isolated area where there was these women, and it was just like a little council of women, and they were like dictating my sins. They were like, they asked me questions like, have you ever had sex out of marriage? Have you ever, just asked me a whole bunch of stuff to see if I was worthy of being sacrificed. And instead of asking the questions or answering the questions, I told them, I said, in their native tongue, because when I'm in the Black End, I can speak all languages. And I asked them in their language, who do you think I am? Right? All of the ladies started to freak out and panic because they were wondering how I knew what I knew. And so I kept talking in their native tongue. I'm translating from the dark end. And I said, your mother would be very upset with you if she knew that you were doing what you're doing. I said, regardless of how colonizers behave, the island had signed a treaty with the gods that they would keep on the right path because the access point. Hawaii is an access point for interdimensional travel, right? But you can't travel interdimensionally if you got hella blood on your hands because you have to pay off the debt. Otherwise, you would lose. Hawaii would lose their almost like a galactic port title if the gods knew that they were snatching people from their hotels and sacrificing, you know. Um, so they had me tied up and shit like that, and they got really scared because they started to shiver cold because the whole cold front started coming in. So when I was there, I undid my own bondage, and I caught on fire. So when I caught on fire, that was my mother giving me my powers from the goddess Pele, which when I'm in Hawaii, I have to not be hot. Like I cannot be hot because if I'm super hot, that will make the volcano erupt that's underwater. So there's always what we call the king on the land in Hawaii is the one who has to put me out. Almost like a firefighter, you know. And I caught on fire and um, I'm starting to scream a loud screech, and the women get on their knees. And I'm mad because I'm like, there's no reason for you to get on your knees now. I was like, you just thought I was some black soul that you could steal the energy from and in order to pay back your own debt instead of sacrificing the shit you got and your own children, you sacrifice other people's children to the volcano so the volcano won't get y'all. I was like, that's the most backwardest shit I've ever discovered. I was like, being that I am the goddess of this area and the true person who actually built the seeds for this whole island, I was like, there's no way you're gonna escape my wrath, right? These girls started shouting Maui name, all in sync, swaying back and forth like a tidal wave or like a wave going in and out. They were holding each other and they were doing this little thing where they was chanting and saying Maui's name. And this nigga show up. He show up in this bright water, like he's in an egg of water. And I'm still mad. My eyes are fire. My body's on fire. Everything's on fire. And Maui show up. And he looks at me and he goes, Pele, is that you? And I look at him and I start crying. And I drop to my knees and I'm bawling. Like all my fires just like put out to this black smoke. And my body is a little charred now, because once I get that hot, my whole skin start to fall off. So my skin is like this, and I'm crying. My clothes are all tattered and everything like that, and I'm crying, and I'm like, Maui, why would you let them almost sacrifice me, to myself? I was like, why do your children hate me so? I was like, is it because of my skin color? Because I'm black? Because I'm dark skinned and I'm here by myself? I said I had signed a treaty that I could go to Hawaii once a year to go see my mother. That's what was the plan, you know. And he came over to me and he wrapped me in his bubble, the like egg, blue water egg, and all my skin came replenished, but I was still crying. And the sky started to rain as soon as I started crying. So um, thunder came and all that kind of stuff, and he like just held me hella tight, just held me in his arms, and I'm crying and crying and crying, and then it starts flooding, and when it starts to flood, that means like people have to go to the higher ground, and this happened because then I went to Maui, and I'm on the beach, and I put on my sunscreen or something like that. I didn't know that my sunscreen affected the fucking things. But a whole group of Hawaiian people, Hawaiian men came to check us because of the sunscreen we were wearing. And they were like really rude. So my inside started to bubble up and I caught on fire there on the island, on Maui this time. When I caught on fire on Maui, the same day there was a tsunami watch, right? There was a tsunami watch, and I was talking to the person, one of the ladies who lived there. I was like, you hear there's a tsunami watch happening, and I'm still on fire, but this time I control my fire, and I called my mother and I said, I need you to wipe this whole island off. I said, you need to wipe the whole island off. I said, they've pissed me off because they stick together. They believe in Ohana. They believe in family. And when they stick together, they gang up on other people who aren't from this area because they mad that colonizers came in and fucked them up and shit like that. But that was the curse that I put on them for the colonizers to come and fuck them up and spread disease and stuff. Because when the wives had hung me and drunk blood. So that was the punishment for the island, that they would live in poverty and would go through, dialysis and all that kind of shit. That was punishment. But my punishment came to haunt me because I am that island. So if it affects my children, then it will affect me. So that's why I'm on dialysis, because a curse will always turn around on your ass. And that's why I went back this last time to go see if I could reverse the curse. And I brought up Maui's heart from the bottom of the ocean. Anyway, let me go back to the other story. I think that might be what that was. Maui held me. He picked me up and he took me back to my hotel room. And, he laid with me, and, we experienced the past and the present in that moment. We almost yin and yanged our energy in between two I don't know how to say it, but we yin and yanged our energy and turned into this like spiral energy. And we were able to climb up to the heavens where we sat, and we tried to reorganize the whole city, the whole island. We had to try to reorganize. So from that understanding, I would birth this, and then I birthed that, and then I birthed other things to help him to organize the city or the islands. And then when I laid there, and then he had to go back to his timeline. And once we finished and we hugged and embraced and stuff, and he left, I started crying again because I'm like, it feels so real. Like it doesn't feel like it's didn't happen. Like it felt so fucking real. And I sat with my back towards the door, and I started bawling, crying. And then like as soon as I stopped crying, I got angry and I lit up. And I lit up and I almost caught the whole spirit of the hotel on fire. Because you have the regular hotel and you have the black end of the hotel. So if it gets too hot in there, all of the like wallpaper was falling off, and like I was like starting to like explode. Because if I explode into ether there, then that is the end of that island. So it's all about, everything about this is about control. You have to control your emotions. I wasn't in control of my emotions. So he ends up coming back to the hotel and was like banging on the door telling me to open, and I was like, no, I'm not opening the door for you. And being as big as he was, he fucking bulled his way in and like broke the door down and then went to me, picked me up, and then made love to me, and then was like, it was like the best. It's amazing. He's like, he doesn't like to see me cry, not just because he's saving the island. He is considered the protector of the island. He is considered the god of the island that protects it from disaster. And I'm pure disaster. Um, and after we were done, I fell asleep. But he left before I woke up, right? And then I woke up from physical then. So I was like back into the reality. And then I went on a cruise to go snorkeling on I went snorkeling and I met this shaman, and I told him how I see the golden letters falling throughout the island, but I said there's so many holes that need to be fixed. And I was like, I need to meet a turtle. And he showed me where a turtle was. He gave me a turtle shell and other things where I was able to use in the dream realm to fix some of the situations that were happening. So basically, it's like rewriting the tidal wave, rewriting the time. Um, but yeah, that was when I went to Honolulu. Um, Anytime I step my foot in the Hawaiian waters, there's a chemical reaction that happens with my body and the water where it blends together and it makes the whole ground more flourish. I'm the black soil and the water turns from salt water to sweet waters. And everything underneath the island gets nourished with this volcanic ash energy, which you're supposed to do to replenish the ground once a year in Hawaii. And then the energy from Pele feeds the roots of the trees, and the ash and energy that comes from the ash makes the fruits even sweeter, makes them even better and juicier and more protected without having to be uh, pesticides and all that other shit. It made the fruit even better. So that was the time I went to Honolulu, and then I went back when my daughter was 1, um, and I baptized her in the water, in the Hawaiian waters. And I sat under this tree, and I sat and I talked to Maui forever. And I was in Maui. I sat under this tree, and I took a picture of it too. And you could see him, like from spiritual, you could see him sitting underneath the tree. And this time he was crying and he was sad. And I was trying to cheer him up, because I went to his burial site. Most people don't know where he's buried, but I know where he's buried because I'm the one who had to initiate it, because his heart had to be sunk back down to my mother. And when his heart is sunk back down to my mother, he no longer is a demigod. He's just a mortal. He's mortal. That's it. He can die. But the minute that I did the ritual where I brought his heart up, because I said he's been doing a good job, I brought his heart up, and I baptized it in my other crystal, and I coated his new heart. And so I gave it to him. Uh, and I put some coral reef and other stuff around his grave that was blessed by Pele. And I have control of the heart, because all of the men that married God, the goddess, like the heaven, queen of heaven and earth, they have to give their heart to God. Literally, they have to give their heart to God. So, Once they give their heart to God, God has control of their heart because they've been their heart has been seeking the light of God their whole life. And when they finally get picked to marry her, they become almost God. They become God as a masculine version. As a whole, they formulate the Father God. So when you hear somebody praying, "Thank you, Father God," they're praying to one of the fathers that is their actual Father, God. And then when they say Mother Mary or Mother God or Mother Gaia, they're praying to the one heaven and earth, Queen of heaven and earth, who births everything, right? So Father God is the cumulative, but if you are a human, you pray to one of the fathers. Father who art in heaven, hallowed, open your name, make your kingdom come, bring your word down, make your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So you built all of your stuff that you built on home, bring it down, the word, the house, everything. Thy will be done on earth as in, give us this day, feed us our daily bread, but forgive us our transgressions as we forgive those who transgress against us. Forgive the sin going back and forth. We are human. Lead us not into temptation. Like, don't let the issue of the world come and tempt us a lot. We can't take too much, but deliver us from that evilness, from the evil one. For thine is the power, the glory, forever and ever. Amen. So basically, that whole prayer surrounds the fathers, the fathers of heaven. This is the accumulative information of Thoth. Thoth is the husbands of the heavens. Okay. So when I went back to Maui on this last year and I went to his grave, I circled his grave 6 times. And then I sit down in reverence, which means I have to point my hips towards the ocean. And then I point my hips towards the ocean and I pray to him and I'm asking him for, forgiveness, and I'm crying at this stone energy. Like I'm crying because it's where our house was. And all of the memories started flowing back and all of the energies came back. And I told him, I was like, I just want to go back in the past and sit there for a long time so that I won't be sad. But I was crying so hard. I had to leave his grave site and go to a different log and sit on it. And I'm bawling. And people are staring at me like, what's wrong with her? But I can't talk to people. Like I felt people watching me. Like I know I felt people watching me. But I was so sad because we worked, like everything that we did, we worked, me and Maui. And it never, let me see. Maui. It worked. And seeing the devastation of the island, seeing, the pockets of rich people and pockets of not rich people, and just like seeing how the beaches are treated with fucking no respect, and how the coral reef was dying. And I said, I was like, this island is my womb. It's really literally the womb of God is Hawaii. That's why they have port access. That's my womb. And I was like, the way my womb is now, I won't be able to give birth to any more physical children on earth. I was like, my daughter's gonna be my last fucking kid because of how the island is treated. And all these developers building where they weren't supposed to build, and people selling their family ranches and their family energies that was like passed down from generation to generation. And it was supposed to be like the land has to be broken down for when I bring all of the houses down from heaven. That's Hawaii was going to be one of some of the first places that received the golden cities. Hawaii was going to be first, Puerto Rico, you know, um, all of the island, Haiti, and they were going to be the ones to receive the blessings first because they're in the womb. And I treasure fertility, and fertility will then make me back from the Pele goddess of burning the shit down to the goddess of fertility. But I was there and I'm crying because I'm like, there's no fucking way. There's no fucking way it's gonna work because it's the energy isn't the same anymore, you know? As many times as we made love on that island, it was supposed to have the non containment of our energy, We we were supposed to bring in a new generation. How can I explain it a little bit more? We would always make love outside, and the energy that came from our oris, our heads, would spread, and we would code the golden notes that will come down for our children to be able to read, to get out of stuff, and like to make sure that the mountains were coded correctly and everything was coded correctly. And lovemaking was the only way for us to bring peace to this area. And it brought peace to us as well, on the inside, because we knew that we had found each other. We found our like yin and our yang. We found the pieces of the puzzle that actually needed to be together. And I was watching the movie Moana, and I was like, some of this just has a little bit too close to home. It hit a little bit too close to home. And then they're gonna make DJ B the Maui on there. It hit hella close. I was like, I can't watch this but 1-2 times before if I don't cry. So it was really wild to it was it was really beautiful to feel the energy again and see all of the images pop up in my face, But I didn't like how the eyes looked at me, towards the island. They didn't look at me like I was their mother. They looked at me like I was an outsider because I didn't look like them. And that kind of like hurt me. Uh, it hurt me in a way that made me feel inadequate to to be. It made me feel inadequate to be there, as much as they talk about like Ohana and like it's mainly like when you look like the locals and you act like the locals, then they'll accept you. It's not like the tradition that was long standing before locality became what it is now. Like, and I was just really upset with my children that, there's still a sense of like racism towards the dark skin and the light skinned people. It's not like this, you know, we have a reverence to it towards you because we know and we see the fire inside of you. We see it. Um, I don't know. I was just a little bit disappointed at some of the things that I was experiencing, and I'm walking around trying to heal the ground, heal the area. Like I put my hands down to the area and I call on Gaia and I'm like, Gaia, unlock the code. And then I'll give her the code and, certain things start unlocking, like new fruits, and new animals. And like, it's like upgrading the whole island to get some new stuff so that when people go exploring, they'll find something and be like, oh shit, this wasn't here before, was it? It's new, you know? And I'm unlocking it. And um, I accidentally dropped my phone down the manhole, uh, the storm drain. And I had to go have a man open the gutter so I can get in and get my phone. Because, I ain't rich. The fuck? I needed that phone for the rest of the vacation to get back home. So my partner was hella scared of the cockroaches that came out, hella cockroaches. But I was like, I don't care. So this Hawaiian man opened the port and then all of these cockroaches. So I jumped down the hole. It didn't matter, jumped down to get the phone. And I look up and I see a little portal opening with a little person in it. And they dragged me into the underworld. And it was like people on fire and like it was almost like hell in a sense, and me being me, I'm like, this ain't how it go. This ain't how it's supposed to be on the underground. And then I started to give out water, which is knowledge. So I started preaching and telling everybody, hey, I'm back up on above. Y'all need to go back up there instead of focusing and searing on this bottom world. I said, I'm right here, right now. I said, y'all souls follow me to the ocean. I will baptize you and all the fire will go away. Um, I said, then I just want to rip real quick. So I said, basically, you follow me up there, and basically they led me to Maui. They told me that Maui was under there trying to search for me because I had died. The last time when his wives hung me, I heard he hung himself. After that, I heard he hung himself in the forest, and he was down there trying to search for me. And I was like, no God should be under here. And so I brought up his heart from the volcano and kept it for when I actually get to meet him. 333, meet him on Earth, and I'm gonna put it on his chest and put the code in, and he get his heart back, which is all his powers. His powers was in his heart because he said, "I am his heart." When they search for God, they search for companionship that is on an equal level. So then he would become my husband, which is one of my Thoth characters, and he would pick Thoth, um, Thoth the gorilla or Thoth the bull, Thoth the bull, and the bull is connected to um, Ishtar, Ishtar. So when you see Ishtar riding the bull is uh, Maui. It's the Hawaiian Islands that she rides to go back and forth through time. That's how she controls her time zone, is because she goes back to 444. She goes back to the womb of creation. And that's where Maui is situated on in my womb. So if you think of myself as a giant and you divide, uh, America is the head, the lower parts is the like, Mexico has the heart. Um, Guatemala, you go all the way down and then you wrap it around, and Europe, and then you go to, you have the islands as the womb, the left leg and the right leg and a foot and the other foot. You just wrap it around the whole universe or the whole globe, and you'll notice that it's a full feminine figure, but the figure turns into a turtle. The whole is not just Turtle Island, one island. It's an accumulative. It's an accumulative of all things. The boogeyman. The boogeyman messes me. He said, "How is your day going, beautiful?" The boogeyman, followed by illegally law. Okay. Mm, not today. Sorry, buddy. I don't feel like playing. I don't feel like eating another soul today. I'm actually kind of sad. Oh, you ended up liking all my shit. And I don't want to play today, buddy. I don't feel like playing. I'm in a sad mood. I'm in a sad mood. I'm trying to talk it out. So basically, long story short, I wonder how all of these is gonna tie into time. All of these videos that I've done. Hopefully, I can hold on longer, because I'm actually getting kind of tired of the sadness taking over my heart. It's like the more I talk about it, it's just like comes out of my heart chakra, and it's like, I don't know. It's a festering sore that needs to be cleaned. And since everyone turned away from the worship of God and went to money and went to, you know, Freemasonry and changed the whole game, like, I can't really, I don't know, I can't really heal myself anymore like I used to, because nobody has the faith in God. They don't have faith. They think that, God is some omnipotent being in the sky, instead of God being inside of humans and inside of man. And no matter how many miracles that I perform and that I do for people, they don't. They just say, "Oh, it's magic," or "Oh, cool, great." They don't really seek reverence. Um, and I do hope, for real, that the racism within the Hawaiian culture goes away. I really wish that they would look back into the black and figure out where they come from. They would look back into the dark side, and just realize that, you know, I can create any color. The only reason they wound up the way they were is because their father. You know, so I think that's all that I have to say today about Hawaii. I could detail some other amazing things that happened there, but also, a lot of it has wasn't too good. A lot of the memories wasn't too good for me.